So with that being said, let's get into the draft.
I like it. A beautiful toss and a beautiful point from Zeke there. You know, I think NightHorde has been super consistent, and I think this game is high chance we go all 5, right? One thing I do think with DA is players like Yato, T, Baj, even Kush, we know their peak. We know how well they can play UA, but we also know that sometimes they have some down days. We've seen Yato make some foul plays back when he was on BTK. You know, the legendary Kadita whiff that we all know about. You know, we've seen them make the mistakes. T overextending, Baj, you know, overextending. We know that when they make these mistakes, they can be the downfall of their team. But I think today DA should be able to show up. If they make any of those mistakes, though, I think the consistency of NightHorde can definitely get them the win here. And that's what NightHorde is going to have to do. They're going to just have to keep it steady, play it clean. And I think that is their win con. It's going to be pretty much who brought their A game today, who is going to make less mistakes.
And, you know, both teams have brought in this like raw element of, you know, surprise, right? Zero has come through, Baj coming back from the dead. And, you know, Melon now stepping up as the main gold lane for the side of DA. So both teams bringing in quite the new roster coming through. It's going to be a, you know, deciding factor to see which one actually comes out ahead. It could be in terms of their draft. It could be the rotations. But, you know, forgetting for all that said, the drafts have been on the board. The bans coming through. Xborg, Angela, and CC gets taken out by the side of NightHorde. Barat and Masha Matilda gets denied from the side of DA.
And Ruby first pick. Zero is swapped up into that pick, but I don't think it's a guaranteed EXP lane pick. Definitely can be flexed around. I'm kind of surprised Ruby getting proud so hard after some of the nerfs on her for a few days. We sometimes didn't even see her get picked up, but there are still a few teams that take her as, you know, a very strong pick. And I think one of the things that she's good with too is because of the flexibility, she's just a good blue side like first pick, right? You're not revealing too much, you leave yourself plenty of counterplay, and she's just a solid hero overall that gives you a little damage, gives you sustainability, and gives you crowd control.
Wow, and a very early Minotaur being picked up here. I think Minotaur is a great hero, okay? But is it first pick viable, right? There's still a lot that's on the board. The Novaria, the Faramis, the Carry, the Claude, right? So, you know, with Matilda and Masha being taken off the board along with Angela, yes, I think Minotaur can provide a lot of the support, a lot of the front line, and we've seen Minotaur do quite well already today. But pairing it up with Fredrin on the very first phase might just warrant a carry from the side of NightHorde to completely counter the front line pressure that DA has.
But you could also think that, you know, gold lane, I think, has kind of become this game of like rock, paper, scissors. You know, where like now that Harith is so viable, now that Roger, now that there's so many different heroes, like gold lane has really kind of widened out where it can be dangerous to like first pick your gold lane off rip. And I think, you know, Melon has showed that he feels pretty confident on a lot of different picks. So I think they felt good about it. They're even going to push back that gold lane. I think after seeing the Beatrix pick, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't anything that's too threatening overall. Yes, the Beatrix is good, but it's not like game breaking. So they're not even gonna put a gold lane even on their first phase at all. They're gonna put Yato on the Faramis, kind of give themselves their core immediately, and now we're gonna round out later on in the draft tour. As we look at NightHorde, they've got a little damage locked in. They have some flexibility with the Ruby. DA showing all their cards, very transparent. NightHorde still has some room to play.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is that there's no marksmen being banned out by both of these teams. So DA pretty much, for Melon, he can pick anything that he wants when it comes down to like things like Arithel, Brody, Claude, Carry. He has so many options. Even the Roger has come back into play. So, you know, the side of DA, they're not really scared. Now, there is quite a bit of XPs already been taken out. Another one gets taken out, the Arlot from the side of NightHorde. It is going to, you know, pressure T's hero pool because quite honestly, NightHorde, they don't have to necessarily look for another XP. They have the Ruby available, which is a very strong pick right? They could just go for a roam and, you know, have the ability to kind of just, you know, have the Ruby on the XP. There's no pressure on picking it. And they do end up banning the Yuzong, the Nolan, and also the Fanny gets taken out by the side of DA.
All right, so like you said, focusing hard onto T here, and I think, you know, this is our first time T now jumping into the XP lane for the first time this whole season, and we're already seeing some of the respect. And these are picks that T's been known for. The Yuzong, even when it wasn't super meta, T's a monster on it. He's dangerous on it. And I think with Zero also showing face first time on this team, they want to make sure Zero feels comfortable, right? And I think it's going to be very important to kind of, you know, we're introducing Zero into the playoffs, first time on NACT, you know, top 8. And he needs to feel good about going up against T here. So I think it's a well strat. I think they are probably, it's okay. We're not going to focus too hard into gold. Let Melon get what he wants. I feel confident against it. You have a lot of utility from the Beatrix. We don't see it very often, but I definitely don't think it's unviable. I think there's lots of possibilities for it. It has the dash. It has so many different routes to go and build. Definitely just kind of like the Swiss Army knife of the gold lane.
And you know, now that NightHorde is looking for a jungle and a possible XP roam, right? Foe, you know, he could go for a utility style, go for the Akai to disrupt. There's also, you know, the Martis, and now Momoy has picked up this Dairoth. This is what Zero has been known for throughout the days of his time on the XP. It's always been about the Dairoth, and I think it was so smart for NightHorde to wait until the last moment to give Zero his, you know, strongest hero, something that he's comfortable, you know, performing at a high level with. But DA has the last pick. They do see the Dairoth. What is T gonna do in order to counter this pick coming out from NightHorde?
I mean, he could go for something like the Lapu here if he wants. It's a nice thing to jump on to R, get onto the backside. It can also kind of has a little bit of sustainability, has dash, has some answers. Definitely something. He doesn't want to go for something, you know, too bulky. Goes for the Terizla. Also another nice backlane diver. Can poke a little bit. We don't see the Dairoth like super often in the EXP, so it's kind of, you know, how does the matchup exactly work out? I'm excited that you brought up some of the little background lore, background story, because with this being like the comfort pick of Zero, I think it's a great entrance to him into these playoffs, right? Will comfort be his answer? Is this something that if he does tremendous on it, will we start seeing it get banned against NightHorde? You know, there's a lot of questions for me that I can't wait to be answered.
Yeah, and you know, talking about the side of DA, they have so much front line to be able to stop, you know, from the side of NightHorde to be able to collapse, right? Again, the side of NightHorde, it almost feels like they don't have that much CC, especially compared to, you know, a Fredrin, a Minnow, and a Terizla. Yeah. Right? They have the Vexana, they have the Ruby, and a Martis for a little bit of anti-engage CC, but is that going to be enough?
Only time will tell. This is the last series of the night, a best of 5 between Devious Activities and the NightHorde. We're on match number 1 right now. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, so I mean, you brought up a great point in our draft here. How is Zero going to be able to face up against T in the XP lane, right? Even if you took a look at that matchup, Terizla is going to have a lot of bully, but the trade already happening at mid side. Not sure if it's going to actually connect here. And yes, NightHorde should be able to get away, no problem.
Take a look at that audience prediction right now. This is the most down the middle I think we've seen in a very long time. If you guys haven't, make sure you cast your vote in the chat. It will be updated as we go through these games. DA leading 52% to 48%, but still, that is neck and neck for these teams now. We already seen heavy aggression on the mid side. Joybaj and Yato kind of pushing in, pushing NightHorde to their limits, but NightHorde able to keep up with them. Like, listen, if that's the kind of road you want to take, if that's you want to go for blow for blow, we are definitely ready for that.
Ooh, and I do want to talk about something that's quite interesting. Fredrin with a support emblem. I've seen this in some of the Asia servers already. you know, they like to use the support emblems. It brings a lot more utility, like the movement speed, the hybrid penetration, along with a little bit of the cooldown. So it's definitely quite interesting because traditionally a lot of the Fredrin liked to use tank, but it's a complete different style. It's almost like it's an assassin coming through from Kush. He has a high, you know, high cooldowns available. So it's definitely something that we have to watch out for. But now Kush, he's not going to have that much survivability.
Ooh. A lot of damage on a Zero there. Yato able to pick up the kill. First blood on the new XP laner of NightHorde.
Yeah, and, you know, ganking a Dairoth, that's kind of the story that's going to be painted quite often. He doesn't really have too much to be able to jump away here. But Foe looking to potentially go for the steal. I do think he's going to look to disengage here, though.
Yeah, Baj able to hold the front side as well. And with Turtle down, Devious activity going to move on to this purple buff. Nice penalty zone. Watch out for the No One's Fury. Oh, my Foe able to dodge it, but still falls. T picking up the kill. Sayori wants to steal the purple, but unable to do it. It's going to fall into the hands of Kush there. And DA taking a nice lead in the beginning.
Yeah, great opening coming out from the side of DA already. 2 kills in their hands along with the neutral objective. And once again, you know, the top side, Zero here is, you know, against a Terizla, I do think it's a very hard matchup. You talk about those two characters naturally. Terizla has the lane clear, has the damage reduction, and has a frontline CC that NightHorde has to get across. But Dairoth, you know, typically it takes some time to snowball. He wants to be able to dominate his lane early, have the kill pressure, being able to stand against anyone 1 versus 1. And if, you know, Zero is able to get up to that point where he can, you know, kill the Terizla or anyone that Devious has to send up there in a 1 versus 1 situation, is going to be trouble for Devious activities. But on the other hand, if Zero gets constantly picked off, if he's not able to win the 1 versus 1, NightHorde is going to crumble due to a top side that's not going to be able to make too much impact.
Most definitely, and DA just playing clean right now. They're not playing like super aggressive, at least not on the opposite side of the river, but they are ganking lanes quickly, and down goes Zero once again. And even though T isn't soloing it, DA knows we take down a lane, it's going to be a problem. We give T a good game, it's going to be a problem, and now the next attack falls. Oh, my Foe falls along with it. That's 2 kills apiece onto Oh My Foe and Zero. DA going to take another purple buff here.
It is a 2K lead. A lot of resources have been used in those 2 skirmishes, right? The bonk has been coming through, the ultimate coming out from Terizla along with the Minoan's Fury. A lot of resources have been used that aren't going to particularly be available in the next objective. But with already a 2K gold lead, it seems like the side of Devious activities, they're holding it down quite well in the river. Momoy, I mean, not Momoy, but Joy Baj with this Minotaur, very, very hard to penetrate. And even Kush on this Fredrin, it's going to be very, very hard for the side of NightHorde to be able to get any advantages here.
Oh man, Baj is just everywhere right now, and Yato's always has his back. Kush able to dive under the tower, pick up the kill with the Appraiser's Wrath. R comes in with the Nibiru's Passion, but still not enough damage quite yet. Nice Eternal Guardian does fall, but in comes T with the penalty zone into the backside. Momo takes a lot of damage, forced to use the flicker just to get to safety. Snipe shot comes out, connects onto Baj, but still unable to get the kill.
Do you see how fast Kush kind of dove underneath that tower, got his hits in, even landed the ultimate, and then dove right back, right? The cooldown is quite high with the support emblem, but on the other hand, NightHorde able to get their first tower. This is good news for the side of NightHorde. This is kind of the thing where, you know, if a team is losing, can they get that advantage on the opposite side of map? And Zero, even down 0-2, is able to do so.
Ooh, Minoan's Fury plus the Shadow Stampede. And 2 kills go down. Melon gets them both right in the hands you want to put it. And yes, you're right. You know, DA does the full grab on to the bot side. T jumps in as well. They do sacrifice the tower, but I still think there is some value. It's good, though, that Zero didn't, like, follow along. He's like, no, I'm going to hang out up here. I'm already behind. Let me try to get something for my team.
And there is about a 1K gold lead for the mage, the jungle, and the marksman. But before that...
Oh, I'm offended. Yato gets caught off, is taken out. A kill does get put on the board for NightHorde finally at 6 minutes in. Now back to what you were saying, Yue.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's quite interesting that I still have to point out is the support emblem that's on the Fredrin. The movement speed, now that he has built up his first item, which is going to be a brute force, it changes things up for Kush. It's not really that like frontline sustain anymore. It's more about just coming in and out very quickly, spamming his spells with an extremely low cooldown. Right, and he's able to get pretty much his ultimate up almost every single team fight, and they're just really taking advantage of that situation right now.
Oh man, look at the gank, look at the attack, Zero. No way out of that one. DA able to get the kill. Kush takes a turtle. They're everywhere, doing everything all at once.
Yeah, and it's gonna smell a little bit of trouble. The retribution does come through Kush. You know, he's just a really fast boy right now, and he's looking to go for a little bit more at mid.
Melon cutting lane, look for the shots onto Oh My Foe. Can he get the kill? Yes, with the BMI out into safety. DA then going to switch lanes. They take the tier 3 in the mid side. Momoy there to try to defend. Melon takes a couple shots to the face. Able to BMI away safely. Yato there to help out just in case. But DA, Devious Activity, just doing a wonderful job now. They've hit their power spike. They're transitioning their 9 kills into being able to take towers, and they're feeling good about it.
Now, although there's about a 2k gap between the XP and the jungler from NightHorde and Devious Activities, the gold lane is still doing quite well. R's not that far behind. He has quite a high damage, so there's still opportunity there.
Ooh, big I'm offended onto 3 under the tower, but the Minoan's Fury lands onto 3 more. More damage coming out. The Devious Passion able to lock onto Zero, but Zero goes down. T takes the shots to the face and does not fall. Yato, Melon picking up a kill. Devious Activity find 3 members without losing a single one.
And the amount of damage and ultimate that the Netherrealm took underneath Yato's control was so insane there, right? They're able to, you know, soak up the damage, the displacement from the I'm offended. They're also able to just defend. Look at that bomb.
Oh my god, that was set. That had to be like 70% health UA.
And you know, Devious now they're just playing kind of like the bully ball. It's 13-1, and they're able to just pick apart NightHorde here.
Ooh, Momoy does get the I'm offended on. Followed up by the bombardment. Yato taking out 3 members off the field for DA. And Kush is out of town along with Melon. NightHorde find a moment to come back.
Yeah, and this is the mashed potatoes and gravy mash that you're talking about. The spice and the salt coming through, the flavor, right? NightHorde is able to pick off 2 of the members of the side of Devious Activities. A kind of a misdive that, you know, we don't see that often yet. But the side of NightHorde, they're able to find the small opening, able to get the punish that they're looking for. And that's huge, right? They're able to cut the gold lead. It was 6k. Now it's a little bit down. And you can look at the cold ultra right here, just soaking up all the damage into the attack, the reinforcements, the rinse and repeat reward from Devious Activities, and then the punish here.
Ooh, such a punish indeed. That was a monstrous I'm offended. NightHorde still showing they have some capabilities, but here's a good thing about Devious Activity. They don't let that slow them down at all. They immediately transition. Okay, we're still going for Lord. We still have a 6,000 gold lead. We still got this. They just have to be careful how they approach it, because NightHorde will strike at any moment.
Yeah, but with that small mistake, it gives NightHorde a little bit of hope. It does look like we have a small pause on the screen, but giving hopes is a very dangerous situation for teams that have nothing to lose, Trex. And they're able to give the side of NightHorde from a 1-13 lead into a few kills going into their favor, able to defend. I'm offended has so much impact, you know, throughout every single fight. It shines a light at the end of the dark tunnel for the side of NightHorde to be able to, you know, find the hope that they need. And now it gives them opportunity. They're like, hey, it seems like we have damage from the Beatrix. The displacements from the Ruby should be able to work quite well. We do have to worry about the Netherrealm, but it's a most definite possible situation that they could get some winning team fights, winning skirmishes here and there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of combo potential from the side of NightHorde. The type of potential that even when you're down 5,000 gold, one play could still turn around a game. You can still take fights. And NightHorde is not the team to just, you know, back off and turtle up. They know that it's like, okay, even if we're a little behind, we know how to approach a fight and maybe still come out on top. So DA has to be careful for that. You know, they did just get that Lord. They're going to be pushing in soon. But if they make a mistake, especially coming into the bottleneck of the base, and they get cut off 2 or 3 members, something like that happens again, it could be a major problem.
Yeah, and you know, there is still a gold gap, right? We kind of talked about it in the game. The XP, I believe, is about a 2K difference. Same thing with the jungle situation. But R has been holding up quite well against Melon. I still think there's a small gold gap, but the damage is showing already. The BOD paired up with the Malefic Roar. He has the ability, and another I'm offended here.
Ooh, Eternal Guardian does come out. NetherRealm able to save the day for the side of DA. They do bait out a couple ultimates for ultimates. Moy doesn't have one. R doesn't have one. Sayori also doesn't have an ultimate on the board. A lot more green dots on the side of Devious activity. They're waiting for the engage. Lord just slowly creeping. They weren't able to sync that one up. He's going to be a little bit delayed to the party here.
Yeah, and you know, the Flicker Terizla ultimate is still available if they want to use that penalty zone. The top side is getting pushed in, and they're most definitely looking to siege
Baj
here.
With the Flicker in. Drops an Owen's Fury, catches 2. Momoy in a little bit of trouble. T maybe way too deep. Forced to use the Flicker just to get away here. R brings out the Nubire's Passion. I'm offended connects, but the ults don't connect themselves. R finally taken out. Sayori brought down to about half health. Oh, my foe. Gonna jump in, looking for the decimation, but unable to connect onto anyone, and is taken out by Melon. Moy still holding down the base. Devious activity looking for another run at this push. More minions coming down the mid side. Melon going to start clearing waves as the rest of his team hold down the top. They all connect now onto the middle inhibitor, and they're going to shred it down quickly. NightHorde now still trying to defend, but Devious activity want to try to end. Momoy looking for a friend, looking for some help, but they locked onto the base, and that will be it at 11.5 minutes. Devious activity take game number 1.
Wow. The aggressiveness coming out from Devious activity, they know they have the impact, they know they had the lead, and they were able to execute it perfectly in that team fight. No members lost there. The Cold Ultra was held onto the very last moment when they were just on the inhibitor base tower. 18, 4, and 38. Quite a high kill score for a playoff game, but the side of Devious activity able to get that advantage early, and it's honestly due to some of the ganks that they had on Zero early on. Got them some of the snowball paired up with Kush, which has been doing quite well with the support. Fredrin, you know, he was fast in and out, and he was able to get a lot of kills early on. You know, this Devious activity is quite strong, especially comparing their performance in the standings of our regular season.
I mean, like I said, man, teams are going to come into playoffs very differently, and Devious activity with Baj on the lineup, we're going to see a much more aggressive, I think, lineup from Devious activity here. We already saw glimpses of it. We already saw moments of it. Baj and Yato, they already have synergy built over the past year. Even though they haven't played together this season or recently, we know that there's already something there, and you add T into that equation, you add Kush into that equation, there's definitely something deadly here. Even the way they approached the early game, the laning phase, then transitioned into taking towers and cutting lanes. Melon is just this extra effect. We haven't seen a lot of Melon, but he's definitely just something where, like, where did this guy come from? Because he's playing wonderfully on the gold lane.
And I do also want to say that with this roster change and the element of, you know, getting a 12-minute match against NightHorde, which is one of the strongest teams in our standing, it really does show that maybe this potentially might be Devious' activity's strongest lineup that they've had so far. The synergy, it's there, right? Joy Bosch does not look out of place at all whatsoever, is able to get the Minoan's Fury at the right time, they're able to follow up. No members are dying left and right. There's not much mistake besides I'm offended a little overextension on, you know, kind of the mid and the bottom side tower. And I honestly feel like Devious, they played nearly a perfect game to be able to dominate early and into the late game onto the base tower, able to get executed perfectly.
Definitely executed very perfectly. Taking a look at some of the stats, NightHorde was only able to get 2 towers, and hold on, is this right? NightHorde got 1 purple buff that whole game. Devious activity was just in their face, Yue.
Yeah, and you know, although Zero was able to get a tower punish early on, the impact, you know, from the side of NightHorde, they're just unable to kind of connect with a lot of these kills, right? Sayori still did quite well, didn't die too much, but the other members of NightHorde, you know, the impact just wasn't there, right? 0-7, that's not something we want to see on a jungler. On the other hand, DA played quite well here. The XP was able to get into team fights quite well. High kill participation across the board. Even Melon playing, you know, quite the perfect game. We saw some very clutch blazing duets onto the backside, just clearing and mowing and shredding down all the members of NightHorde. So Devious activities with this 12-minute win definitely showing a very strong performance.
And I mean, Joybaj, first day in the season, already showing up as the Forgotten One with 14 assists. Melon with gold per minute, the rich guy, and Sayori actually packing a punch that game. And you mentioned her a bit, how she did have a decent game, you know, didn't have too many deaths. But what we saw there, you know, it's the ripple effect, it's the butterfly effect. DA starts off getting picks onto the EXP lane, that ripples into the purple buff where they start getting picks onto Oh My Foe. And then once two members are down bad like that, there's nothing the rest can really do to pick up the pieces. Let's take a look at the head-to-head though of Sayori and Yato.
Yeah, and I mean, the damage doesn't quite tell the full story, right? Even though Yato, you know, more or less played the support role, the nether realms that he had was insane. They were able to soak up so much burst that came out of that Beatrix, and, you know, the invulnerability timing, you know, was able to negate so much damage. 4, 2, and 12 is Yato's score. You know, one of the highest kill participations on the side of DA. So definitely still kind of revolving around this trio mid strategy, right? Joybaj 78%, Kush also high in the kill participation. But one thing that does stand out is the performance of T. He was able to get those kills early on, especially every time that DA sent resources up into that XP position. T was able to come through with the penalty zone, gets the stun, gets the pick off. And, you know, that's great when you're able to get kills off of, you know, an XP lane where typically it's supposed to be that 1 versus 1 matchup. So DA definitely playing quite well into their books, into their advantage, possibly looking to go, you know, continue the momentum into the second game. But I think NightHorde this time around is going to bounce back. They, you know, they had a great game. You know, Sayori played great there. It was just that, you know, the jungle and the XP kind of fell off a little bit towards that mid. If they're able to secure better picks, maybe pick up the Fredrin early on themselves, right? Get that strong jungle presence, you know, ban out maybe the Barats and, you know, take away some of Kush's hero pool and make sure Zero can hold against T. And I think that was the strategy that they had. It was just unfortunate that T was the last pick and, you know, picked up a boss man himself and just completely dominated that matchup.
And the whole team, I think both teams came in with a strategy. DA, though, I think catches NightHorde off guard with such laning phase aggression, such quick ganks, you know, just consistently putting pressure onto Zero. And I think DA also, they came in with that strategy. They knew, all right, we're gonna gank hard early game. We're gonna put as much pressure on as possible. Now NightHorde maybe has a gauge. They're like, okay, now we kind of know what we're up against. We need to find a way to slow them down if they come back in. And I think if DA is really sneaky, if they're really smart about this, it's like, okay, this time we focus hard on gold, right? This time we switch it up a little bit and we gank the opposite lane a bunch, right? So we'll see how things go. DA is going to be first pick. They're going to ban out the Fermis up front. So Yato is going to have to play something a little bit different. And we're already going to see a slightly different draft.
And, you know, one of the things I do have to point out is I feel like we're seeing a lot of troubles in the laning phase. It could be, you know, other teams playing very perfectly to be able to get the ganks off. Timing is correct and they're able to get those kills early on in some of the side lanes. But a lot of these teams, like, it's becoming kind of like a one-sided matchup where they're able to get the weaknesses of the opponents and able to, you know, use that pressure to connect to the objectives, to connect to the snowball, and they're able to kind of just completely destroy one of the sides, get those pickoffs, and, you know, get the snowball that they need to go on in these games. So, you know, definitely one recommendation, especially to some of the losing teams or losing matchup, is building some early game damage, early game heroes that can defend 1 versus 2, that can get out of sticky situations. The Roger, perfectly in this meta to deal with that sort of situation. The Glue, a little bit of a Ryzen situation, also has the ability to dash and sustain. So definitely try to, you know, skew more towards early great picks that, you know, can defend against a lot of the dives. Maybe we might see a cleaner early game. Maybe we can see that 20-minute match that Bloodhounds and BTK had here.
I mean, I definitely think we're just getting started, right? It's game number 1. NACT didn't place the way they placed for no reason. I definitely think we see some back and forth here, but DA, this time they're going to take the Ruby up front. This has been such a focused pick tonight, and NACT, I feel like, has just done this over the past several weeks from season to now. I feel like every week we're seeing a new first pick. Like, this is the new first pick. You know, sometimes it was the Roger, now it's the Ruby, before it was Barats or this or that, and it's just consistently changing around what these teams feel they should be prioing.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that Arlott has not been banned out in the first phase, and in order to flex that pick, they actually rather to get the I'm offended than the final slash, which is, you know, quite honestly, debatably 50-50, right? The Arlott pretty much does the same thing, has multiple CCs, can displace the opponents, and have a very strong laning phase, but it seems like we like to prioritize Ruby just a little bit more. Now, the NightHorde comp coming through with the Barats and the exports, I like this, right? That's a lot of frontline sustain coming through, along with, you know, Export just denying the picks away from the side of DA to protect the Barats. So I think it's a great opening, but it is extremely prone to CC, extremely prone to the true damage like carry. And I think DA has quite a good response in that sense.
I would say, though, that Export is at least a solid laner in the beginning of the game. He's not the easiest to gank. He has the passive and everything, so it's a safe pick for Zero, I feel like. You also never really overextend with him, you know, in the early game. Maybe you throw out a Last Insanity, but even then, you know, it's very easy to play him very safely and kind of stalemate your lane. So I think it's a solid pick for Zero coming into game number 2. He shouldn't be too easy to gank. You know, he's probably going to pick up the Flicker to pair along with this and should have a nice, clean several first minutes of the game. Sayori now, though, going to pick up that comfort pick Nana for her. We've seen her do crazy things with this pick.
Yeah, and, you know, another option that I think Sayori could have considered could have been the Valentina, right? Taking away the I'm offended, gets the ultimate coming out from Vexana. But Nana provides something a little bit different, right? With, you know, the Molina, she's able to, you know, completely single out a target or multiple targets and morph them into a little rat, I think. And you know,
don't talk about Molina like that.
It's quite hard to deal with, and I think it does bring, you know, a surprise element. And Sayori has been so good in terms of staying alive, farming away, and, you know, finding the right team fights. I think Nana does fit quite well and can do definitely some damage, especially going up against, let's say, a Vexana, where, you know, she does shine a little bit more in the long range. She likes to, you know, just be right outside of the hitbox, but with the Molina Blitz, it does go quite far. So potentially able to catch up Yato, but the second phase bans is on the table. The Rithel and the Nolan gets banned out from the side of NightHorde, and the 2 frontline tanks gets taken out from the side of DA.
I mean, this same Nana is what won NightHorde essentially game 1 against BTK last week. Able to get some of that early aggression with the Molina, able to get a catch onto Mobazane in like the first minute. So we wanted NightHorde to be able to kind of keep up in early phase, and Nana can do that. Nana can supply a great defense. It's very hard to invade against a Nana. It's very hard to like try to apply very early, you know, laning phase pressure, because every time you run in, you're just turned into a rat, as you said, you know? So there's it definitely supplies that. Also decent lane clear. So I think if Sayori wants to kind of follow around, you have to hold on a second. Melon on the Hanabi pick. Talk about it,
This is what, NACT PTSD a little bit. I mean, we did see a lot of success out of this hero, right?
They picked it up against BTK, right? Like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, we have to give this pick credit, because even BTK in their interview, they were struggling. They were telling, hey, there was no way we could kill this Hanabi. How do we do this? And there was a backdoor Milo play to be able to take the game there. So this pick is respectable. It is just a little bit out of the usual norms. Now, Kush picking up this Guinevere is a little bit interesting at the same time. It does provide a lot of the CC that DA may be lacking there, but it is a nerf Guinevere. She is not as good as who she was before the recent patches. So maybe the side of DA can use that to their advantage and get some setups. But wow, NightHorde's setup is very, very ube.
And when I look at that Guinevere, I think two things. Either DA playing for some, either they're going to try to play I'm wondering, do they want to play really hard for these turtles early game when they can get the knockups onto Oh My Foe? Or is just a dive comp right here to try to herd onto the side lanes once again? Like maybe even give up first turtle, go for a gold lane gank early on, try to get Melon to scale up quickly. I definitely think it's a big possibility here. Last time we saw them hard focus EXP. This time with a hero like Hanabi, you want to try to give her a very clean early game so you can snowball that into the mid to late and get her some of those, 3 items or so locked in, very quickly, maybe much sooner than, 13-12 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, something like that. But let's see, because DA leading in one match in a best of 5 up against the NightHorde. Can they make it 2, or will NightHorde bring us to the dead even?
So, you kind of talked about the Hanabi trying to get into that late game. Definitely feels like DA, they're going to be putting generally quite a bit of resources onto that gold lane quite early on. Like they want to make sure the Hanabi is going to be safe dealing with the carry 1 versus 1. And when we talk about the laning phase, honestly, the Hanabi should be able to deal quite well against the carry by itself. And it does seem like the side of DA, they're able to get a small zoning even on mid side. So that's 2 lanes already in their slight advantage. We can take a look at the top side though. It seems like it's quite the even trade, but T able to get the Raga armor off early should, give them a small advantage leads in terms of a quick rotation and maybe contestions of some of the neutrals.
Baj already bringing out the
wow,
the typical engages, the typical in your face. Melon does have the Aegis, right, to kind of help him out when he's moving around. The shield, what is that? It pretty much activates as a purify, doesn't it, Yue?
And a little num num.
A little bit of damage. Oh My Foe able to come in, but he is going to get knocked out by the Violent Requiem. Able to pick up the kill. Can they get the response? Yes. Baj able to get 1 for 1 there, but it's a jungler for an EXP laner. I think it's a good trade in the hands of Devious activity.
Yeah, but for the side of NightHorde, they've already started a little bit better than before. They're able to get a little bit of zoning onto some of the far lanes. They're able to get a trade early on. The gold lead is not crazy. It's only about 100 gold leads, so it's not really that significant. Now for the side of DA though, right? They have to see if, they could get the pickoffs that they're looking for. It seems like they want to pressure in onto the top side, maybe get this neutral objective uncontested. But it honestly feels like the side of NightHorde, they're playing this early game much better than before, right? They're able to get a few kills here and there. Now the Nana's looking to get to that level 4. Might be impossible, too late for a contestation for the neutral objective.
Definitely too late. They tested the waters, they dipped their toe in it, but did not fully commit, and I think it's well played by NightHorde. Don't go all in on that. They didn't have a good positioning. Oh My Foe also late to the party there. So now still back down to a stalemate. 1-1 gold, dead even right now. The Florin pick from NightHorde. Give me a little something on it. Do we think it's a good pick here? We don't see it all the time. How do we feel about it, Yue?
Well, definitely if we, take a look at some of the out of the country combinations, but before that, Num Num.
Wouldn't be anything too major. Nice, I'm offended. Oh My Foe actually going to get pulled back in, but still nobody getting a kill.
Yeah, I mean, the Florin pick is quite interesting. It has been used quite a lot in the PH regions this weekend. And there's some teams that have a lot of success with it, right? Manana Evos definitely has a lot of success with the Florin, the Wrath picks, so it's definitely quite viable. There's a lot of teams out there that, just kind of hang on to this support pick. But For Momoy now, you know, I've known him to be a great Minotaur. He's done super well with Grok. This, for me, is the first time that he's opting to go for this Florin pick. And it's not, you know, completely great, especially when you're going up against something like a set roamer, but it definitely has some potential, and it just pairs super well with the Barats. But top side, you do get the Raga armor.
At least Zero hasn't gone down, right? Okay. So they, like, he's definitely been getting bullied a bit, but last game those bullies would have translated to kills. This time they're feeling a little better about it. You know, we were talking about the Hanabi pick a little bit earlier, and I think one of the reasons why she's maybe a bit more viable than what we would have seen in the past. One, the kiting thing that came out in the last few patches with the marksmen. So many of them now able to kind of hit and move, attack, and you know, double step around a bit. That gives her. She's not as vulnerable when just unloading. And then also the recent buffs on the towers, as long as you're under that tower, now you're getting even more damage reduction, and you're pretty much safe from ganks. Wait a second, oh my foe, able to get the Tonus welcome. On to Kush, gets the big stun. Yato takes a lot of damage, forced to back off. But Momoy gonna get attacked from the back T, able to pick up the kill, looking for another one. Melon able to find one as well. It's 1 for 1 right now. Turtle does go to the side of the NightHorde though, make it 2. T finds another kill.
Yeah, and you know, T potentially might get picked off here in a little bad situation.
Does he have the bounce? No. Zero pops it a little bit too early. T right behind him, and now oh my foe gonna go down. T still playing with him. Finally drops. But now Baj in a bad spot. Momoy looking for the kill. Kush also just trying to get away here. Melon taking towers though while this is happening, and Devious activity get away safely.
Now, I think one of the rise of kind of the more stationary damage dealers, we're talking about like Vexana, Hanabi, Carry. They don't have, you know, a very big dash range. It's due to the fact that it seems like we don't have as much assassin actions as we did back then, right? A lot of these heroes are prone to dive. And yes, we are in a very dive heavy meta, but we also value a lot of kind of sustain, right? We value armor early on defenses to, you know, build up something like a Brody with or a Carry with a belt first item, right? So a lot of prone dive heroes have been coming up to the meta. But at the same time, you know, we don't have the assassins like the Ling and the Fanny that roam around the map anymore. So the Hanabi pick, honestly, it could be quite safe here. And, you know, Melon's doing a great job on the top side dealing with the ARP by himself.
I mean, and another thing to add on what you just said, the amount of crowd control now that is so prevalent in teams, like 3, 4, sometimes all 5 members, and that creates space for heroes like the Vex to be okay. But now on my foe, trying to get some more damage on a Kush. Kush taking a little bit too much to the face there, forced to back off. Melon as well, able to just get away safely, but NightHorde still unable to pick up a kill in that fight. Devious activity just want to try to defend here. Melon doesn't want to let this tower go down.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit surprised from the side of NightHorde. They did go for a little aggression early on, but they did not connect it with any objectives. But foe here might get picked off.
Foe very low. T once again diving in. Able to get the kill there as Kush picks up the turtle. Zero gets the last insanity, but still unable to kill T just yet. Devious activity come out on top again in that fight.
Yeah, but a lot more 50-50s this time around. You can see the side of NightHorde, they have a lot of damages that is actually available here and are here.
Oh, gets the kill. 1v1 Melon finds it. That's insane. And never would I have thought.
That's the strength of a Hanabi by herself, you know, especially early on. We're talking about a single target damage dealer like Carry versus kind of like a cleaver from the Hanabi, and he was able to kind of just solo out the Carry quite early. The side of Devious, they do have the bot and the top tower, so already an advantage in terms of the objectives. And they, you know, they've also been able to rack up about a 3k gold lead, and they're looking quite sharp here. And you know, the side of Devious, it's very good for them to be able to have the Hanabi to get that winning matchup, because Hanabi is one of those heroes that do require a lot of scaling. But before that, whew,
oh, Melon brought so low, but just in time gets the Aegis. Pair that up with the Eternal Guardian. It was a 4-man knockup. Every time NightHorde tries to come in, they're stopped in their tracks.
Yeah, but the good thing is NightHorde is not getting picked off as much as they were from the last match, right? The overall kill score is only 6-3, so it's not as bloodthirsty as it was beforehand. It does smell good news though, right? You know, the side of NightHorde, the problem that I saw from last game is that they were just unable to, you know, go past the laning phase safely. But this time around, they've definitely been able to get through that quite safely. It's about a 4K gold lead. It's not that much at a 9-minute mark. It's definitely comebackable, but they've just set themselves up in a much better situation this time around, and potentially they're going to be able to get a winning team fight here and there.
Ooh, watch out for the Violent Requiem. There it is. Oh, my foe taking way too much damage. Gonna go down. Kush able to pick up the kill. Devious activity now, backing off. They got the purple buff. They still haven't cracked that tier 3 in the mid side just yet. A lot in the off lanes, but still having a little trouble finding that one. Lord should go down, though, to Devious activity.
Yeah, and again, Devious activity, they've played quite well in this series, and especially even in this game. They're not really giving too much opportunity for NightHorde, even with some of the more 50-50 fights that they had early on. The side of Devious, they're, you know, almost always coming out quite ahead. Now they're able to get that mid tower that you were looking for. It opens up the map completely. You can even see Melon just walking through the jungle of the side of NightHorde, not scared at all, as he should. You know, he's got that built-in Purify. It's not the same as a Purify, but, you know, it does provide a lot of utilities that the side of NightHorde have to deal with. And quite honestly, there's not much CC come out from NightHorde to be able to pin the Hanabi in a good position for them to get the damage that R desperately needs to output in order for NightHorde to go above and beyond in this team fight.
And I'm wondering exactly what Melon's building here. Are there any defensive items? Is it just full damage? What exactly the plan is here. Lord is crashing down on the bot side. So we got Golden Staff, Corrosion, Scythe, Demon Hunter Sword. Honestly, though, man, like with the shields and everything, it's so funny because Melon just feels so bulky right now. A lot of times has taken some shots and just has not been able to get taken out. R, though, walking on to Kush here. Eternal Guardian did drop down in the tier 2 on the mid side. Devious activity not overextending, though. The Lord has been taken out. Devious activity and control the map.
And, you know, they don't really have to overextend, right? Even if they don't take losses here, they have Melon, which is so extremely hard to deal with, and he's just scaling more and more and more, and he just has so much damage that there's almost nothing that NightHorde can do, right? Devious, they have the Violent Requiem to be able to stun onto the front side. They have the I'm Offended to displace the big dinosaur there. And for the side of NightHorde, of course, they have the Florin pick, and once again, a lot of the healers, it's more about being reactive. It's not about making the plays yourself, but the opponents just miscalculating, misjudging the sustain, and, you know, force the opponents to make some mistakes. But right now, Devious activity is playing perfect. They're getting the pickoffs that they need to, wasting some ultimates, but they're able to single out individual members, getting 1 or 2 kills per team fight. And they're setting up for such a big snowball. Look at the damage dealt here. But before that,
Violent Requiem does come down. Are able to unload at Speedy Light. We're able to pull back. The I'm Offended. A lot of damage onto Foe, and Foe goes down. Zero does pop the last Insanity, but Melon gets the Aegis in. Now able to get some more free shots. Zero in a little bit of trouble, trying to get back to safety. They're going to lock onto the tier 2 now on the mid side. Melon able to grab it. Devious activity come out once again on top in that fight. Joy Baj is back in the land of Dawn. People told me not to get too excited about it, but I'm hype over it.
And, you know, T's performing quite well with the CC, right? We saw the impact that he had in the very first objective, where he was able to get onto the backside, get a few kills here and there, especially when it almost felt like it was a 50-50 for both of these teams. And T able to make the impact already in the XP position. Again, this is something that we've expected before. But this DA squad, the dominance and the performance that they've had, like, it's crazy how much synergy that they have, how much confidence, how well they synergize with each other. And now it is up to NightHorde to defend that. They definitely have the ability to, but it is going to be a very rough uphill battle.
Yato has, I mean, I feel like everyone on Devious Activity this game has just played very cleanly, from Melon to Kush. Yato's had some great Eternal Guardians. Baj with some really clean I'm Offended. Now they're going to try to break through onto this base. They will get the crash from the Enhanced Lord, bringing that inhibitor down to about half health. All 5 members going to pile up. A little bit of a freeze there, but it's okay. They finally break through. T holds down the front side along with Joy Baj. Do pop the conceal play. Kush looking for the engage. Will get stopped. Stunned up from the Florin. Nice Eternal Guardian comes down. Another inhibitor falls as well. Devious Activity able to take it now. Down to the bot side. One more to go like dominoes. Devious Activity, final target locked. The thing is, this NightHorde can't even come in because he is just yo-yoing away, shredding anyone down that comes close. And NightHorde doesn't have any dive right now. They gave up a heavy-hitting tank for Momoya on this floor, and they gave up a heavy backlining dive EXP laner for this X-Borg.
Which you know, could work. It was just that, you know, the side of NightHorde, they just don't have that much CC here.
Another Violent Requiem locks on to 0 there, paired up with T. Able to get some nice damage down. Still not a kill just yet. Stona's Welcome does lock on to T, but T's okay. Joy Baj jumps in. NightHorde getting pushed back into the base, trying to get their health bars back to full. Kush has an immortality. Ready to jump in and die for the team. Baj as well. Last Insanity connects onto Yato. Yato forced to use a flicker. NightHorde still just trying to defend, and Devious Activity finally back off.
Yeah, and you know, NightHorde should be able to defend quite well. They do have the carry to be able to, you know, deal as much damage as he can possibly, but the spacing coming out from Devious Activity is just really too good, right? They have CC to, you know, zone away anyone from the backside. They also have Guinevere, where the Violent Requiem could smell death for any of the members of the side of NightHorde. And you know, now they're kind of caught in a very bad situation where they do have to defend the base. Zero caught up by himself though here.
Ooh, a lot of damage. 0 and a little bit of trouble. Fragile Armor does pop. He is a bulky boy, though, so he should be able to get away here.
Chunky.
But the threat is constantly there for the side of NightHorde. They just haven't been able to find a way out of their base just yet.
Yeah, but the Lord is going to come up in about 10 seconds. This is going to be the second Luminous Lord for the side of Devious. And, you know, we're slowly seeing kind of the same story being put off by many of these teams, right? The early objective, the early game kind of just shows a very strong snowball, and it almost feels like there's no way for anyone to get back here, but Ruby is picked.
Ooh, everyone unloads. Joy Baj. Immortality does pop. Will he be able to get away? No, finally goes down. Sayori able to get the kill there. This is, I think Devious Activity has to know, okay, maybe let's stop the taunt, stop the recall, stop the toss. Baj getting a little ahead of himself.
Yeah, and I mean, the Lord is going to be marching down now with Joy Baj, a 20-second death timer. DA may not be able to push into the inhibitors, and this is going to pretty much push the game past, you know, that 19-minute mark where the third Luminous Lord is going to be coming up. But Devious still have an opportunity here. They have Luminous Lord marching down. Everyone is in set position, but it is going to be a 4 versus 5.
Melon takes the angle, takes the flank, unloading the backside along with Kush and T. More down to about 20%. 0 pops last Insanity the backside. Aegis his pop from Melon. Oh my foe, get to the Tona's Welcome, but the Revive comes in. Melon's okay, able to walk away, but the base goes down to the backside. I completely missed it. DA takes the game. It looks like NightHorde missed it too.
Another very strong performance coming out from the squad of DA here. 17-minute match. Definitely all the members have been shining, but I do want to focus on Melon a little bit with this Hanabi, right? This is the pick that we're like, hey, Hanabi versus carry, you know, it shouldn't go extremely one-sided. It's both late games, right, Trex? And you know, Hanabi, he was dominating in his lane. He was able to push out, you know, the carry multiple times in different situations. And then paired up with pretty much the synergy that DA has, you know, they looked unstoppable in a lot of these team fights. All the small skirmishes pretty much went into the side of DA's favor. And, you know, NightHorde, they kind of did well based on the mistakes that they made in game 1. 0 did not get picked off as much. They were able to, you know, lower the kill scores early on. I believe when it was mid game, it was 3-6. and they were able to kind of negate some of the weaknesses that they had before in game 1. But when it came down to the late game team fights, that was a 4 versus 5 with the Luminous Lord. If they're unable to defend that 4 versus 5, think about if Bosch was there. It would have just been a one-sided team fight, and that really shows how strong DA is as a team, especially with this new lineup.
It's kind of scary, man. It is. There's some high hopes after this series right here. There's definitely some high hopes for Devious activity, but they're not out of the water just yet. NightHorde is a team that has shown they can go the long haul.
Yes.
I think as long as they don't let their morale get down, try to get some momentum back, they're definitely not done for just yet. Taking a look at some of the stats, like you said, much closer than last game. I think NightHorde, you know, maybe they're still downloading. Maybe they're still getting comfortable with this new Devious activity. Maybe they're still trying to figure things out. They were able to get the win against Devious activity earlier on in the season. Yes, once again, it was a slightly different team, you know, a slightly different roster. I think they just need to kind of get their grips on things and figure out how they need to approach this.
Yeah, and I mean, for the side of Devious activities, they played quite well into some of their strengths, right? They know T can kind of do things on himself, and he could probably get the early rotations in some of the objectives. Kush, of course, being the objective focused player that he is, grabbed up all the neutral objectives, and we saw plenty moments of greatness coming out from Yato, getting, you know, multiple sets on the knockup, and even Joybot with the displacement. DA, their full team is playing pretty much at their peak. You talked about suiting up, and DA has definitely suited up in the game 1, game 2. Now it is up to NightHorde to see if they can match the same energy to be able to, you know, take this series into maybe the 4th or the 5th game.
I mean, we haven't so far. If time tells, so far every series has been a sweep so far. I was really hoping that this one would be a bit closer, but right now it's looking good for DA. Melon the carry, Melon the rich guy. Melon used to be the sub, but now this man's on the roster showing up. Take us through some of this head-to-head, though.
Yeah, and, you know, Sayori played another great game here, not dying. She's great at just staying alive, getting the farm. Even in the losing situation, she's able to kind of manage her way to, you know, take away some of the mistakes and get the damage dealt on, right? She was the highest damage dealt from the last game, even though on the losing side, and this time around doesn't fall that much behind from Yato here. Take a look at some of the team fight participations. It is still spread across, but what's significant is T on a 75% team fight participation. He's been there for every team fight, and this is one of the first games that we see the side lanes actually doing better than, you know, some of the mid trio combinations, right? Melon 63%, T 75%. This team is so balanced. They're able to win matchups on the side lanes, and if they need their trio mid to kind of come up, they have it, right? Yato, Joybot is so strong here.
And this was one of the things that I was, you know, coming in, looking at some of the, you know, thinking about predictions, thinking about how some of these matches were going to go, you know, T versus Zero. I think, I don't know, man, we can't forget, T's not just some slump in the EXP lane. I think NightHorde maybe needs to think about it. They can't keep giving T the CC, right? Or they can't give C... They need to make sure that Zero has a good matchup, man. Like, they need to make sure his matchup is very clean, and they can't just slot T for the team, like what works exactly for the roster. I think maybe they need to, I mean, they can't just slot Zero for the team, what works with the roster. They need to slot Zero on how he's going to be able to compete against T, because if he doesn't, like I said, it's gonna ripple effect into the rest of the team, man. And we saw it again. Yes, Zero didn't die in laning phase, but he was consistently sent back to base. Fraga armor was consistently popped, and that rippled into the rest of the team. It gave NightHorde, it gave DA, it gave T the ability to rotate around and cause pressure elsewhere. Now this time it's match point, NightHorde on the blue side, first pick.
It's a very tough matchup, Trex, especially when you talk about how much success T has in the XP lane. You could put anyone in NACT, and T with the experience, with the championship ability that he has, this is a team full of, you know, all-star players. Once again, yes, they did place quite low, but this new lineup has been devastating. They took an 11-12 minute match against, I think, the top 3, top 4 of NightHorde, and now they're pushing their lead, a 2-0 so far, going for the third. It's going to be a very hard situation for NightHorde to deal with, but the strategy that you put up, right? Building, you know, a team around Zero, maybe giving him a more comfort hero. If he doesn't have CC, right, Foe can pick up the CC. He's a great Akai player. Right? He can pick up the CC himself. Mamoy, we've seen him on beautiful set tanks. And, you know, of course, Sayori, she's been performing so well. There's definitely an opportunity to be able to manage, you know, some of the strategies and get Zero on a winning matchup. If they could find Zero on a winning matchup here, that might be the win condition for the side of NightHorde to be able to get a game, possibly the series here.
Keyword might be the win condition.
Might be,
right?
yes. Might be.
Because Melon also such a great job in gold. I mean, Baj and Yato are a problem. NightHorde, you know, they just got to find an answer all over the place. And whether it's, you know, willing to just... In the very beginning of match 1, we saw Sayori and Momoe get a little bit aggressive with Baj and Yato, and I think, you know, it might be time. Let's go for the 50-50. Let's see who dies first. You know, let's just trade off here. You know, it's match point. You're not out this game. You have some opportunity to kind of push your limits, limit test a bit here. You go down. You're not. It's not a lower bracket game, you know. So I think NightHorde need to come in strong this game and be ready for the aggression that DA is going to bring to them.
And that first pick, Fredrin, is definitely a very strong performance hero, especially today. Most of the Fredrin matches have won, right? So, you know, definitely picking this up, I do think it is the right strategy, the right way into success. Some other heroes that can pair well could be kind of the Faramis, the Brody, kind of the standard, paired up with something like a CC, like the Ruby or the Arlott, is definitely possible for the side of NightHorde to take. But DA smartly denies the Faramis pick away from Sayori. There is still a Navaria available, so potentially I do want to see them go in that direction, but no. It is going to be the IMU here. Perfect to deal with, you know, the Netherrealm coming out from the Faramis.
I think there was a quick response, you know, and I'm wondering if NightHorde waits for that EXP pick, because DA is very like T himself is very comfortable being a last pick EXP laner. He almost wants to because whatever you pick, he wants to, you know, do the rock paper scissors with you. Look for the what's my best matchup. NightHorde being on blue side, it's definitely different. So they could just like slot in. The CC's not there, so they could slot in something for him very comfortably up front. But I think they wait. They bring in their own heavy frontliner, heavy frontline roamer to deal with the Minotaur and kind of match them. So NightHorde kind of matching DA's pace right now.
And it gives them opportunity for Zero to pick up the damage dealers that he's really well known for, right? The CC that NightHorde has this time around, they had the Florin the first time with the Barat, right? That's not that much CC, but this time around with the Grok, the IMU paired up with the Fredrin, it gives Zero an opportunity to experience you know, different types of damage dealers. And this time around, DA is even willing to have the confidence to pick a Yuzong early for Zero to decide what kind of matchup. I think all the stars are falling in line for the side of NightHorde to be able to find a strategy to push this into a game 4.
Yuzong is definitely not the most meta EXP laner right now, but if there is a player that I would trust picking it up first phase of draft, it would definitely be T. But this, like you said, gives Zero some opportunity. Now you have full realm. You have full opportunity. T put his card down. Let's see what you got to respond. And if there's a time for Zero to really pop off, this is definitely it.
And, you know, they're not really focusing on Zero's hero pool. Maybe the Arlott could be a potential pick in the XP position. Maybe Zero's going to take the Grok for himself and flex, right? But this, you know, it does give a lot of open cards for the side of NightHorde to deal with. But at the same time, right? Kush has been protected into the last phase. He has the opportunity. He can pick up the Akai if his team feels like they need a little bit more CC. The Joy has also been available here, but Kush going for a utility-focused jungler, and the response is so quick here.
There goes. Now, what did we see last week? What was the big winning play from NACT up against VTK? It was this Ixia on R. Some of the positioning was incredible. Just some of the plays overall were monstrous from NACT. So back to basics, back to comfort, back to what works. But does Melon have something up his sleeve here? Because this time they're slotting Melon as the last pick, and I think this is exactly why. What does he go for here?
Rithel, Brodies are still available. The Claude gets banned out to protect it, and Melon goes for the same strategy here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Zero here. But Zero here with the Ruby. Now this is interesting because both Ruby and Grok can be flexed with each other. We don't see Grok XP that often, but maybe Ruby is going to be a better matchup against Yuzong. We saw, you know, Zero hovering this Ruby in the very first game. It did end up getting switched, but I do think this time around it could be interesting. But going up against Melon, especially with the Purifies that has been built in, may be a little bit hard to deal with.
Going up against Melon with the Purifieds built in, now with the Nether Realm as well, just to keep you alive even longer.
And the flash from Minnow.
It's scary, man. It's scary. But are the full barrage, if they can, you know, use this to their advantage, if they can get these wild charges, maybe get a stolen IMU Minoan's Fury, there is definitely some big set potential for NACT. The same thing that we saw win them Game 3 against BTK last week could be what brings them to a Game 4 here. But let's see, because it's match point for Devious Activity. If you haven't already, put those votes in and let us know who you think's going to come out on top. Will NACT take us the long haul, or will DA sweep them down to the lower bracket?
I just want to appreciate that this Devious lineup has been such a formidable force, such a contending force in this series so far. They've pretty much played nearly perfect. Small mistakes here and there, but they're winning majority of the trades. They're winning majority of the small skirmishes. And, you know, quite honestly, recently, it feels like all the objectives, especially early on, it's been a one-sided match, right? Whoever gets the first turtle leads up to the second leads up to the third, leads up to the lords, and then it just kind of becomes one-sided. We haven't been able to see a match where it goes back and forth. There's more 50-50s, but I do think this time around, especially with both utility jungles, we might potentially see that. Now, let's take a look at some of the emblems here. Seems like relatively all standard, but top side, quick pick off against Zero already.
I feel bad for Zero, man. I think Devious Activity is like, listen, welcome back to NACT, Zero. It's been a while since we've seen you in playoffs, but welcome back. Devious Activity knows, I think they know that he's the new player. We're going to try to jump onto that. We're going to try to take advantage of it, and they've been doing it all 3 games.
It's classic, right? You want to welcome the newbies coming in, not necessarily a newbie in this case, but somebody that's coming out of retirement. Hey, you know, surprise, surprise, the meta has been different from the days that you were here, and this is our time to shine. And, you know, NACT here doing something quite smart. They are getting a trade on the opposite side of map. Fredrin's able to get the blue buff, while DA is looking to go with 3 versus 3 in the objectives. They don't end up getting it, but on the boss side, a little bit of a trade.
A little bit of action in the mid side as well. Nether Realm from both sides. Sayori able to get the team back to safety. But yeah, gold laner for gold laner. 1 for 1, 1-1 on both sides. NACT do take the purple buff. Gold definitely not escaping them at all. It's anyone's game.
And, you know, for the side of DA, they definitely have the opportunity to take most of the objectives quite freely, right? T with the Black Dragon form. It's very, very hard to deal with T, especially since he already has an advantage on the XP lane. He's going to have faster rotations. He's going to be able to clear first. And he's be able to get the rotations that, you know, Devious activity needs. And paired up with Aboxia, right? He's not scared to start objectives. He's not scared to do anything. And he should be able to just roll around, get some quick engagement, maybe even get a pick off. So the NightHorde, they definitely have to, you know, be a little bit worried, but at least, hey, their gold lane is winning, and that's going to be quite huge in a lot of these team fights.
And, you know, the big difference between the Ixia and the carry that Melon went up against last time is the range, right? R has the poke, has the ability to kind of push Melon back, whereas normally the Hanabi has that, you know, has a lot of, oh, but wait a second, speaking of R, the full barrage comes out, but it's still not enough. Down goes Ixia. Melon now in a slightly bad spot, but Joybaj here to help out. Oh my foe gets the bonk down, looking for the kill. Melon able to just get away, and that's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, it did look good for quite a second for Oh My Foe, but the shield, the Aegis coming out from the Hanabi was just a little bit too much to deal with some of the damage that Foe has, and now he's going to be punished here.
Punished badly. Just when NightHorde was kind of keeping up in terms of gold and everything, members are starting to fall. T confident. Ooh, the wild charge comes in. Sayori look for something, but the Netherrealm saves the day once again. Petrify, knock up. Sayori goes down, but finds T in the nick of time. It's a 1-for-1. NightHorde still hanging on here. The Devious activity not done yet. Momoy and Zero down low. Joybaj able to get the knock up. Momoy just trying to get away, but Yato doesn't want to let it happen. Kush under the tower looking for the last hit, but unable to connect, and Momoy gets home with 1 health.
And I mean, the little trades that are happening here, it's honestly just 1-for-1. Even though, you know, DA has a kill lead, the gold lead is still quite close here, and, you know, Foe even has the opportunity here.
Ooh, Minoan's Fury does connect. Zero gets another knockup. Joybaj looking for more. Zero able to get the Am offended, though. And Joybaj instantly deleted. Momoy now gets the wild charge onto 2 members. Yato brought down to about 20%, just trying to get away safely. NightHorde now collapsing. Next target, Kush locked on, taking out R, picking up the kill. While this is happening, T is getting that top tower, but overall feels like a win for NightHorde.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a win. It's still 1k gold lead for the side of DA. They're able to even get some damage onto the far lane here. So definitely is going to be advantage for the side of NightHorde. They're able to get 2 kills in that team fight, and this is what NightHorde really needs to be able to get back into this match, right? The small skirmishes are so important, and if they're able to get a win in any of these small skirmishes, it pushes, you know, the game timer even far back. DA's not going to be able to have kind of a significant gold lead where they could play the bully ball. They have to, you know, pick the team fights a little bit more worrying. It seems like Foe here is huge. No, like, you know, he's so tanky. He's a big chunky boy. Nothing can hurt him. And even now, NightHorde's looking to push onto the mid side.
Yeah, they're doing well. Kush taking a lot of damage there. A lot of knockups, a lot of stuns. I'm offended connects, but the No One's Fury does connect as well. Netherrealm for both sides. Yatos comes in second. Waiting for the full barrage to come out from R, and there it is. Yato, Kush taken out. Kush able to just get away, but Yato still gone off the map. T a little bit late to the party, brings out the Black Dragon. R gets a couple more free shots on to Melon before flickering away. Back to safety. NightHorde finding some moments of brilliance there, but still not in control of the game just yet.
You know, the side of Devious activities, you know, the Black Dragon coming in, I felt like he should have targeted R right there, but a little bit of, you know, a targeting issue right there. It seems like T, you know, didn't get what he was looking for, but top side here, maybe going for a pickoff.
Verify. I'm offended, but T still fighting back. Knows he has the advantage. Petrify. Zero goes down. Man, T is a problem, man. This man is a menace right now to NightHorde. The big bomb comes down. Oh My Foe able to take out the turtle. Wild charge connects onto 1. Yato able to get the Netherrealm just in time. Here comes the rest of DA, ready to collapse onto Oh My Foe. Joybaj uses Minoan's Fury, but connects onto nobody. Kush, though, looking for the target. Connects onto R. Black Dragon as well with the Petrify, and they collapse. R is gone. Sent back to the Netherrealm. Another one down. Momoy uses the flicker to try to get safely into the tower, but T still gets the kill. Zero now gets the unoffended onto T, brings him under the tower. T gets a couple shots in the face, but still up, healthy, eating good right now. Oh, my foe brings down to the Appraiser's Wrath onto 3 members. Baj looks for the knock-up, taken out for it. It's 2 for 1 right now, but DA still coming out in the lead.
Yeah, great focus onto R in that team fight. They were able to pick him off quite early there. The Netherrealm from Sayori just barely out of range, and they're able to get the pick off that they were looking for. Now the gold lead is about 3K. It's still a very close game, and I think this is, you know, NightHorde's best game so far in this series. They're able to, you know, kind of push around the side of DA, making sure that they don't have a clean engagement. It's trades 1 for 1 here and there, or a 2 for 1, and that's much better than, you know, just completely losing out. Now the dive coming in from DA is still quite huge here, but boss side seems like R did use the missile barrage to push Melon out, but no kills connected so far.
Bro, Melon's just able to walk away. It's so disgusting, man. Hanabi shouldn't be able to do this, but Melon is. And now Momoy taking a lot of damage from Kush here. Kush gonna be able to get that kill. Actually, Melon finds it. The Appraiser's Wrath comes down, but Yato gets another realm just in time once again. Sayori comes in with the IMU, able to steal 1 for herself. But now T and the Black Dragon into the backside. Boy, Joy Bosch flickers in. Melon takes down the tower. Still the back and forth. Kush able to find R. And now NightHorde is collapsing. Zero gonna be next. T gets the kill. That's 4 members down on the NightHorde. Devious activity 5 strong.
I think that kind of cements a lot of the late game team fight potential that NightHorde can provide there, because quite honestly, it was still a good dive from the side of DA, but it wasn't like perfect, right? There was plenty of times where, you know, like right here, they were able to get the cold altar out quite early, and typically when it comes down to that, right, the Netherrealm, whoever pops it later should have the advantage. But unfortunately, you know, the side of NightHorde, they lost 4 members in that team fight. Now the Lord goes into the hands of DA. It's gonna be a very big struggle, especially now since the gold lead has just widened a little bit more.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Like, you would say, like, normally in Ixia, all right, we have late game potential, but there's a Hanabi on the other team, you know? And it's like, Melon, this shouldn't be legal. This shouldn't be possible. This shouldn't be meta. But Devious Activities making it work and making it work well. Here comes the full barrage, but the Netherrealm helps out once again. NightHorde unable to do anything against the onslaught of Devious Activity.
But that is 2 big utilities used before the Lord has marched down. No Minoan's Fury, no Netherrealm. But the trade for the side of NightHorde, they are down the missile barrage along with the charge coming out from the Grok. So traded some utilities, but NightHorde should be able to defend this Lord no problem here. But the members of DA aren't looking to siege. I don't think there's gonna be a full commit here. I'm offended.
I'm offended. Comes from Zero. T taken out. Joy Bosch taken out. Very reminiscent of the last game. The I'm offended to help push Devious Activity away. Now Kush gonna get taunted up, taking a lot of damage. Melon now unable to get some good free shots. Sayori pops the Netherrealm. Momoy into the backside. Does not have that wild charge in a very bad spot. Full barrage comes out, but Yato instantly moves on to R there. Gets the Shadow Stampede. Kush, Melon still looking for free shots. Melon pops the Aegis. Will catch the offended to the face, but does not fall. Appraiser's Wrath. R finally able to find it. It's 4 members down on Devious Activity. Still a 4K gold lead, but NightHorde feels like they're back in the game.
Yeah, the light at the end of the tunnel is shining ever so brightly for the Black Dragons here, able to get their very first winning team fight in this series. And that was a very tough fight, right? Like, you know, the members of Devious Activities have tried to disengage. It was a full kind of like 3 versus 4, and the side of NightHorde was able to get the pick-offs before the side of Devious is able to, you know, get back into their base. It's a very nice, good fight, but can they use that to get objectives? That's the real question. Can they, you know, commit through? But before that, Minoan's Fury
only connects onto Momoy, should be okay, but watch for T here, man. Watch for T.
He's there.
Now he's got the flank, he's got the angle. R needs to be careful. Baj as well. Devious Activity looking for the sandwich here, looking for the ambush.
But this is great news for the side of NightHorde, right? They're able to actually take control over the aggressive side. So it seems like Devious Activities, they're not necessarily looking to, be the advantage team here, right? They're giving away the jungle pressure, especially onto the Lord side, which is quite valuable. And now you could even see a small split push coming out from the side of NightHorde. They're so confident that they can kind of delay this team fight 5 versus 4. This is very good news for the side of NightHorde. They're in a great position, especially for this Luminous Lord.
Yeah, they finally feel comfortable to add a little macro to it. It's like they don't have to constantly be all 5. Wait a second, Momoy! Look at the damage! On to T! Joybot's able to get the No One's Fury. Netherrealm does come out from Sayori, but T's gone. Ooh. Nice wall coming from Momoy. Full barrage connects! The damage, Yato able to help him out, but Bosch might not be able to get away. No, R gets the killing spree. And now Devious Activity looking for the response. A little bit of damage onto Sayori. Kush able to find the kill, but R is just unloading. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Members of DA are falling. Oh, my foe takes the Lord, and Melon's on the run or on the chase. NightHorde wins out in a huge team fight.
And, hope is a very dangerous thing. And it seems like NightHorde definitely has a lot of hope so far. We talked about it, right? The confidence that, NightHorde has to send a member onto the opposite lane before the Lord fights. And they're down in gold, down in kills. They get the pick off that they were looking for early on. The Yuzong Black Dragon not there. And a beautiful wall coming out from Momoy paired with the missile barrage coming through, shredding every one of those members. NightHorde with a brilliant fight there in the second Lord.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Devious Activity was lucky to even get the 1 kill there. Zero also feeling a lot more confident, able to kind of hold down the front line and be a threat. We saw just when he dashed into that tower range, Devious Activity kind of backed off. Melon in a bad spot, going to get knocked off from the wild charge. No One's Fury able to connect onto 2. Sayori trying to help out with the Netherrealm, but look at the damage onto TT, looking for anything he can. But the full barrage connects once again, but R taking out Yato with the shutdown. And now Devious Activity's looking for more. Sayori able to find T. Baj holding down the front side as well. Yato there with Melon. Kush flanking from the backside, connects on to Sayori, and Sayori falls as well with the rest of her fallen teammates. NightHorde, just when they had something, Devious Activity takes it from them.
Yeah, but, if you take a look at this fight, for example, it's not necessarily that NightHorde had, right? Of course, they want to be able to win it, but can the side of Devious Activity punish the mistakes that NightHorde made here? You can see the cold altar. Like, Melon is literally just free attacking from the backside. He's able to recover some health, and R here made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
No flicker available. Missile barrage coming through is just not in a good position. But there's no Lord coming up. There's no objectives being taken. So, the side of NightHorde, even though they lost that team fight, it wasn't the timing wasn't right, where when they did lose that team fight, they would get their real estate taken. They just traded some gold back, and now it's even a small lead for the side of NightHorde.
That's even Stevens' 200 goal lead for NightHorde right now. It is a game. Could definitely go either way. Both teams down a lot of towers. Devious Activity a little bit ahead in that department, but since they haven't broken down an inhibitor, the macro isn't heavily in their favor, right? Especially Lord going to be on top side. Both teams down to inhibitors on the long lane, on the opposite lane. So both teams feeling good about it. I think one advantage is T could kind of play the macro game, does have the Black Dragon to get involved into this Lord fight whenever he wants, should be able to out-rotate Zero a bit.
And what's interesting is Devious Activities, even though they were up pretty much the whole entire game, they're willing to give the jungle pressure on the aggressive side for NightHorde to use. And a very early missile barrage, I think that's a mistake here.
That was a huge mistake, and Baj knows it. Brings him to No One's Fury, doesn't connect. Melon able to find R there. NightHorde, one misclick, one big whiff, one big mistake. Devious Activity trying to capitalize on it. NightHorde push back to the base. Cult altars from both teams. Yato able to get away safely, but this should mean a Lord for Devious Activity.
Yeah, we can't be making mistakes like that, right? Not only was the missile barrage a mistake, but you know, the position of R there, they were able to kind of just, you know, collapse onto R, and it was just quite unfortunate because NightHorde definitely had a lot of hopes in even getting this objective, but now you can see the Hanabi just dealing so much damage onto the front side.
Zero forced to use the flicker. A lot of damage does come from Oh My Foe and the rest of the team. Nice wild charge paired up with the I'm Offended. Members of Devious activity down to about 20%. Yato does not have the Nether Realm. They do back off. Lord has not entered the field just yet. Devious activity going to go back, get some health, and get ready for the push.
Yeah, but this is going to be an interesting push here, right? You could look at some of the spells that both teams have. All of them are on a 50-second cooldown. So if the Lord does collapse before these cooldowns are available, both teams are actually quite down in a lot of the utilities, right? R definitely needs his flicker to be able to get into a good position. Zero does not have his flicker available for another minute, but the timers are coming up. 30 seconds for Joy Bosch. You know, you got 15 seconds from Yato. There's definitely opportunity here for both teams to try to find a good team fight.
Right, nice damage does land on Mofo. He's gonna get stunned up, push back to the top side. Full barrage does come out, lands a couple shots onto T, but no kills just yet. T with the Black Dragon, able to zone away, crack through the inhibitor. Lord still at 70%, still feeling healthy. NightHorde need to put some direction onto that. Melt it down. Momoy pops the conceal. Doesn't find anything with it. NightHorde still just playing the defensive, and they defend well. Zero does have the I'm Offended. Devious activity, need to watch out for it. At any moment, they could pull him into that tower like we've seen happen before, but Devious activity won't fall for it again.
I just want to say Momoy's walls have been quite impactful. Even there, just kind of slowing and stopping the lanes. It forces the Hanabi to get into a better position, and we've seen Hanabi kind of getting stuck behind that wall. So definitely a very interesting way to, you know, counter out the Hanabi, right? If you can't stun her, put a wall there, and you know, now she can't either move across it, she can't dash, and I think that's a perfect response for, you know, the stationary damage dealer that Hanabi is. But we are getting into that late game position. Hanabi already full item, has the win, has the immortality. She's going to be a very, very strong damage dealer here, and if the side of NightHorde is unable to get onto the backside, right, there's no assassins there. They have, you know, Momoy to use the wild charge, but you know, that's just about it. They have to rely on damages coming in from R in order, or Sayori, the burst, to be able to get onto the Hanabi, because quite honestly, the CC coming out from Foe is not going to hit. Ruby also not going to be able to do too much. The wild charge point blank with the shield that Hanabi has is also not going to be able to affect her, right? So they have to team fight quite smartly here. Now the Lord is coming up. It's interesting that Devious activity now has the aggressive bushes there, and NightHorde is kind of stuck clearing waves and showing themselves before this Lord can even be contested.
I feel like at this point, the only way they're going to kill Melon is if Melon makes a huge mistake. Because you said it, man, it's immortality, built-in Purify, Wind of Nature. Melon could take a full barrage and probably still get the kill onto R. So Devious activity just have to play this cleanly. NightHorde I think NightHorde's big goal is, you know, make this fight go the long haul. You do have the you have the IMU, you have the ability to use that Nether Realm. I think both teams, it's like who can last longer in a minute fight, right? Like who can make it to 2 minutes and still have five guys standing. Momoy taking a lot of damage. Wondering how NightHorde are going to approach this Lord.
And technically, if the team fight kind of goes long, right, they also have Joy Bodge on this Minotaur to be able to heal up some of the members from DA. I think the most important thing is how can they get the damage onto Melon where he's just not free hitting from the back? How can you separate the Nether Realm away from the Aegis Hanabi with the immortality? I think that's going to be quite crucial here. The Lord is down to 50%. There should be a reset coming through. Momoy also, you know, have been doing quite well with the Skrok, especially when the matchup is not quite in favor. It's good against the Minotaur, but it's very, very hard to deal with, especially when you go up against a Hanabi. And the later game, the later on the game goes, the Grok doesn't scale well. Has lane clear early on, but the first skill almost becomes useless. It's just, immuning a lot of the CC. But top side here.
Ooh, full barrage, and it's gone. Is this the time for Devious Activity to make a play happen? Kush in the backside. Watch him go. Gonna almost get the collapse onto R there. Taunt does come in. Yato here to help out. Devious Activity take control of the Lord pit once again. Moi's done a great job of resetting the Lord using the wall, though. Oh My Foe able to get the taunt onto Yato on the backside. Gets the knock up. Sayori also dancing around. Devious Activity not fully committing just yet. Momoy doesn't have an ult. R doesn't have an ult. Should be back up in just a minute, but the walls are a pain. You said it before. Momoy is just, he is doing a wonderful job. That Kush with decent positioning, but Devious Activity have to go back and clear some of these waves.
And we did see Sayori being able to output significant damage onto Melon. I think that's one of the strongest win conditions that NightHorde has. If they can get Sayori to flicker onto Melon, get 100-0 real quick and pop it, it's possible. But now with the bot lane slow pushing, they sent 0. They sent 0 on the bot side. This is engagement for the side of DA.
Joy Baj gets some No One's Fury onto 2, the collapse. Onto R, into the backside. Oh My Foe's there, though, and Yato brings out the Netherrealm. Yato able to get the kill onto R, though. Oh My Foe also down to about half health. Moy on the run. Yato, everyone collapses. The immortality pops, but I don't think Oh My Foe's getting away from this one. Melon gets the kill. It's 2 members down for the NightHorde with 60-second death counters. Devious Activity say, we don't need no Lord. We're marching down. 5-man down the mid side. NightHorde, they're either going to make this a mistake or they're going to make this the loss. Can Devious Activity finish this here with the wall? The minions, they buy enough time, and now Devious Activity unable to finish.
Yeah, they do get the clear onto the mid side. Melon is actually a little bit stuck there. I don't think they're going to be able to get too much there. Melon still has the shield available. It should be quite safe here, but this is a risk that DA is deciding to take, right? They're able to get the siege onto the bot side, onto the mid side here, but with the Lord is still available, it might be hard, and they might potentially look to push here.
Yeah, using the Netherrealm just so they can really focus in. Everyone locking onto the base, and that is going to be it. Devious Activity take game number 3 for another sweep, sending NightHorde to the lower bracket.
Most definitely a very strong and convincing performance coming out from the side of DA. This new lineup definitely reminds us of kind of like the back in the day BTK winning against Outplay. This is the team that a lot of people have to watch out for, and they're able to get the sweep. It's quite convincing. They've had a 13-minute match. This one isn't as clean as before, but again, it's quite convincing when it comes down to that mid and late game. The decision makings were there. It was calculated. They sent the Ruby onto the bot side, got the collapse that they're looking for. Everyone dove the Exia. It was an extremely hard game for R, and the KDA definitely shows. 21, 13, and 50 assists for the side of DA.
I don't even know how that maths up right there. But hey, I think the real thing is DA were very grouped up, and everyone was getting a piece of those assists. Everyone had a piece of those 21 kills. And I think that's one of the things where DA really just kind of won out in all 3 of these games. They worked as a unit so well. The synergy, knowing who their win condition was, knowing when to protect Melon, knowing when to get T those early game advantages in the EXP lane, and NightHorde was just unable to keep up.
Yeah, and the side of DA, they just played quite well in that game. We saw Melon pretty much dominating in most of the matchups. Kush was always on to the backside. We didn't get to see T shine as much, but definitely the last Black Dragon, and waiting for that Netherrealm to come down with the Petrify, secured that kill onto R. So again, it's a very dive heavy meta, and DA definitely stands out in terms of mastering that type of meta. They're able to take these picks onto another level, and quite convincingly a 3-0. It is a 24-minute match, so NightHorde still played extremely well, and honestly they've been playing well and better every single game. It's just unfortunate that they're not able to push this series into game 4. And let's take a look at some of these stats, Trex.
Rich Guy Melon, the carry, Melon, man, I can't get enough of this kid. Has just come in and completely... I mean, like, we haven't even seen Melon in, like, previous NACTs a bunch. Never has been, like, a top 2, top 3 finisher. And this guy has come in and just taken NACTs by storm. For me, essentially, the rookie of the year right now. Started off on the bench and now just dominating in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's quite convincing. Like, it doesn't show that he is, you know, been benched for, you know, throughout the whole entire season. Now he's on the main lineup. He looks like the main deal for the side of DA, right? They're able to protect him. He's able to get a few picks here and there. But now let's take a look at the head-to-head. Yato against Sayori once again. Sayori played a great game. 92% kill participation. The damage is not too much of a difference, but Yato definitely stood out ahead on the winning side. 2-1-14, probably the best match that he's played in today's series. Also high damage dealt. Trex.
High damage dealt. Melon with 165,000. Yato as well. You know, we always talk about how the Fermis doesn't do too much damage in the early game, but when you get into the late, those Shadow Stampedes, those Ghostbusters, it starts to hurt a bit. And Fermis really, I mean, especially when you're grouped up, it can really be trouble when you get into the late game. And the scaling from Devious activity, it just shows. T had great presence in the early game. Towards the end, you know, not as much damage, but still the Petrifies, everything just coming together. And taking a look at all the team fight participation, like I said, everybody had a piece on the side of DA. There was no one that just incredibly jumps ahead of the other.
Yeah, and you know, the trio mid 76% all across the board. Melon also getting a piece of the pie there, 71%. You know, the side of DA, this new lineup definitely looks quite strong in terms of their performance. They're able to give Melon into the action. T also had a great game, I believe, in game 2 or game 1, leading in the team fight participation. So everyone gets a piece of the pie in the new DA lineup. Definitely one of the strong performances. Everyone has to watch out for this team. It's going to be a tough series when Devious is going to be facing BTK on our next series.
that was literally just going, you read my mind, man. I'm thinking, bro, DA versus BTK is going to be disgusting. Almost as disgusting as our favorite host, Zeke.
Man, I'm flabbergasted.
He's losing his votes left and right.
He's Zeke stonk. Zeke vote stonk, sir.
Zeke, I'm starting to see you down here, buddy.
First of all, you leave that. You don't put that evil on me. That is ridiculous, man. I tell you what, I don't know if I'm in like a love triangle, but I just feel like all of these teams, it doesn't make sense. The math is mathing, and granted, I never took calculus. I feel like I should be all right. But
it's the geometry that you're missing.
Nonetheless, I didn't take geometry either. But
what's geometry?
Nonetheless, man, I feel like that third game, NACT was playing the way that I really expected them to play, but R just had a couple. I don't know if they were misclicks, but it just hurt them so much. Like, they caught the pace and they had the ability to challenge things, and then it's like just one bad skill cast and it's just stomped out from there. That hurts, man.
Yeah, there was definitely there was two major moments where R used that full barrage. That was just a little. Even Yue was like, Coach Yue came out. He's like, "That's not how you do that, man." I can't remember what you said exactly, but it was like, we can't be doing that. That's what you always said. He's like, you can't be doing that. You know, at 20 plus minutes, you can't be doing that.
But leading up to that point, though, NACT played an insane amount of game to be able to get to that point. You know, these are hard fought matches, and it was 50-50 for a lot of the moments for me and Trex. Like, the gold lead was just tied close, and it just felt like NACT had the opportunity. They even had the bushes, the aggressive bushes near the Lord. So I'm not taking that away. A few mistakes did cost them the game, but NACT still played insanely great.
So I feel like we could summarize that entire end game of that third match with just one simple phrase. Who put that there?
Put that chair there.
Who put that button there? I didn't click that. But leave the jokes for me, and let's get into the MVP. Who do you guys think you got it?
Tough one.
Melon?
Is it the return of Baji Boy? No, Melon, of course, Melon. Melon, man. I mean, all 3 games was just a star overall. Even his game 1, where like it wasn't anything super crazy, but on the Claude was just clean, deathless for so much of the game. He's a slippery guy, man. It's a slippery guy.
Yeah, and I mean, they definitely had to ban out the Claude in the game 2 and game 3. Like, it definitely feels like Melon played this gold lane quite well, and especially, you know, not playing majority of the matches in NACT, he's able to perform at such a high caliber. It really does prove that, hey, Melon is a star of the show. He's able to pull this Hanabi not once, not twice, but 3 times. Unfortunately, he did only get victories in 2 of them, but the impact that he has on this off-pick hero definitely sets him apart from a lot of the gold laners that we have in NACT.
So for me personally, I feel like we came into this tournament asking what team is going to be the dark horse. You know, what team is going to be the dark horse? And the thing is I don't think any of us were mentally ready for the dark horse to not be a team at all. It's literally just Melon. Melon's somebody who found himself in a position where he was a sub, he got a play in, and then just that first time he got his game in, MVP, and then ever since then, they've been like, nah. I like this. This could work. And he's just diffed every single gold lane he's came into, and he's just, I feel like every time we see him, he's playing better and better, and Dark Horse, man, just forget a team. The Dark Horse. That's his new username. Change it.